Last video, I remade my game's character, and today we're gonna make a new one. So the first thing to do when making a character is to come up with a backstory. For this character in particular, I wanted him to be a young man that achieved his dream of becoming a knight for the king. But on his first mission, he was ordered to execute innocent villagers, and by refusing to do so, he was arrested and stripped of his rank as a knight. With a simple backstory in mind, I came up with this design. The armor on his lower half is to show who he was, and the lack of it in his upper half is to show who he is now. To show that he's kind of a fallen knight, and the headband is to symbolize his rebellion. So now that we have a very rough sketch and concept, it's time to bring him to life with Blender. When making his face, I try to make him look very masculine and good looking, but the result was just Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Modeling the armor was pretty difficult. I'm not very familiar with how medieval armor looks like, and it took me a while to come up with something good, especially since there are so many details to consider and so many different designs. But after a while, I finally managed to finish modeling. As you can see, I also added some chains to represent his time as a prisoner. You can see his armor on the lower half. And as you can see in the upper half, he doesn't have any armor, he only has the chains, a shirt, the headband, and some wrist things here. The next step was weight painting, and oh man, it was terrible. I still suck at it, and it took me hours to finally get some decent information. So now let's do some texturing, and as always I'm using Substance Painter. All of these textures were made using Substance Painter's default materials. The boots were made using the bronze armor material, the leather stylized material, and the steel stain material, and I'm just using a black mask to separate each one of them. The only material that I made myself was the body material. And as you can see, I used a bunch of layers and it was very difficult to make. So let's take a look at how I made this material. It all begins with a bit of a yellow color, then I added some red around the face, then I added more red using dirt, and then I added even more red using ambient occlusion, then I added some actual ambient occlusion with a purple color, yellow highlights using metal wedge and wear, and then lastly, to make everything more even, I added a color mask, which is just a regular layer with 32 opacity. For the beard, I shaped it with a white color, and then I added a gray fill on top. The lip is separated in 3 layers. We have a base color, we have some saturated spots, and lastly some dark lines. And lastly, I drew some shadows around the eyes and on the nose as well. And this is how he looks like in Unity. I'm still not 100% sure if this is going to be the end design for the character, but I think it's looking really good for now. But you might be asking, who is this guy going to be? And well, he will be your companion and a playable character. Take a look. I've been playing way too much Final Fantasy, and I decided to turn this game into a party-based Souls-like RPG whatever thing. This is going to be very, 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 very difficult to accomplish, but I'm up for the challenge, so if you want to see how this is going to turn out, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the future videos. Thank you for watching!